In the 19th century, the world witnessed a transformative phenomenon, the expansion of capitalism. This economic system, based on private property and the pursuit of profit, spread rapidly from Europe and North America to the rest of the world. But what drove this expansion and how did it affect global economies? Capitalism did not emerge overnight. Its roots go back to previous centuries, but it was during the 19th century when it really gained strength. The Industrial Revolution, with its technological innovation and mass production, played a crucial role in this process. New production machines and techniques enabled greater efficiency and reduced costs, which in turn boosted economic growth and market expansion. One of the key factors in the expansion of capitalism was globalization. Improvements in transportation, such as railroads and steamships, facilitated international trade. Products that were previously only available locally could now be shipped to distant markets, opening new opportunities for traders and entrepreneurs. Furthermore, the colonial expansion of European powers created new trade routes and markets for their goods. But not everything was positive. The expansion of capitalism also brought with it inequalities and conflicts. While some became rich, others found themselves in precarious situations, working long hours in deplorable conditions. Cities grew rapidly, often without the necessary infrastructure to support the growing population, resulting in social and health problems. The rise of industry was one of the main drivers of the expansion of capitalism in the 19th century. The Industrial Revolution introduced a series of innovations that transformed production and commerce. Steam engines, automatic spinning machines, and other technologies enabled mass production at an unprecedented pace. With the ability to produce goods in large quantities, factories sprang up throughout Europe and North America. Cities such as Manchester in England and Pittsburgh in the United States became industrial centers, attracting workers from rural areas in search of employment. Rapid urbanization transformed the social and economic landscape, creating new dynamics and challenges. Commerce also underwent a revolution. Improvements in transportation, such as railroads and steamships, allowed for the rapid and efficient movement of goods. Products could be manufactured in one place and sold in another thousands of miles away. This global connectivity opened new markets and business opportunities. However, the rise of industry and commerce was not without problems. Working conditions in many factories were harsh and dangerous. Workers, including women and children, often worked long hours for low wages in unsafe environments. This period saw the rise of labor movements and unions fighting for better conditions and rights for workers. The expansion of capitalism in the 19th century not only transformed industry and commerce, but also finance. This period saw the emergence of new financial institutions and practices that facilitated economic growth and global investment. One of the most important developments was the creation of modern banks. Banks provided the capital needed to finance new businesses and industrial projects. In addition, they offered services such as credit and savings accounts, making money management easier for both individuals and businesses. Stock markets also gained prominence in this period. The London Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange became nerve centers of financial trade. Company shares could be bought and sold, allowing investors to share the risks and rewards of economic growth. This new financial dynamic attracted investors from all over the world, facilitating the expansion of capitalism on a global level. Financial innovation was not without risks. Stock markets could be volatile, and speculation often led to economic bubbles and financial crises. However, financial institutions continued to evolve, developing new forms of risk management and regulation to stabilize markets. The expansion of capitalism in the 19th century was closely linked to colonialism. European powers sought to expand their territories and control natural resources and markets around the world. This colonial expansion was largely driven by economic interests and the search for new investment opportunities. European investors began to finance projects in colonies in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. These projects included the construction of railways, mines, plantations, and other infrastructure. International investments not only benefited colonial powers, but also transformed local economies, often dramatically. The infrastructures built by the colonizers facilitated the extraction and export of natural resources, such as rubber, oil, and precious minerals. These raw materials were shipped to Europe and North America, fueling growing industrial demand. In exchange, the colonizers introduced manufactured goods to the colonies, creating new markets for their goods. However, colonialism also brought with it a series of negative consequences. Local economies were often distorted and dependent on the needs of colonial powers. Indigenous communities faced exploitation, displacement, and loss of land. Furthermore, the imposition of foreign economic and political systems often caused social tensions and conflicts. The expansion of capitalism in the 19th century fostered an environment of innovation and entrepreneurship. Competition in global markets encouraged entrepreneurs to constantly look for new ways to improve their products and processes. This period saw an explosion of inventions and technological advances that transformed industry and commerce. Businessmen such as Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller in the United States became emblematic figures of capitalism. Their innovations in steel and oil production, respectively, not only made them extremely wealthy, but also fueled economic growth and job creation. The philosophy of perfect competition encouraged companies to always seek efficiency and cost reduction. Patents and intellectual property played a crucial role in this innovation environment. Inventors like Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla registered hundreds of patents, protecting their inventions and ensuring they could profit from them. This system incentivized individuals to invest time and resources in research and development, knowing that their efforts would be rewarded. The expansion of capitalism also facilitated the creation of new industries and markets. Electrification, automotive transportation, and telecommunications are just a few examples of industries that emerged and flourished during this period. These new industries not only changed everyday life, but also created new business and employment opportunities. As capitalism expanded and economies became more complex, the need arose for more effective financial regulation. Central banks began to play a crucial role in the economy, managing the money supply and ensuring financial stability. One of the first central banks was the Bank of England, established in the 17th century, but its influence grew significantly in the 19th century. Central banks issued currency, regulated credit, and acted as lenders of last resort. This meant they could provide funds to commercial banks in times of crisis, preventing banking runs and economic collapses. Monetary policy became an important tool for managing the economy. By adjusting interest rates and the money supply, central banks could influence inflation, unemployment, and economic growth. These decisions had a significant impact on financial markets and the economy in general. Central banks also played a crucial role in regulating and supervising the banking system. This included setting capitalization standards for commercial banks and ensuring they operated safely and responsibly. Furthermore, they acted as guardians of financial stability, intervening when necessary to prevent systemic crises. The great international exhibitions and fairs were emblematic events of the 19th century that highlighted the achievements of capitalism and the Industrial Revolution. These events not only showcased technological and cultural advances, but also encouraged commercial and diplomatic exchange between nations. One of the first great exhibitions was the Great Exhibition of London of 1851, held at the Crystal Palace. This exhibition brought together products and technologies from around the world, showcasing the wonders of the Industrial Revolution and the potential of international trade. Millions of visitors flocked to the event, amazed by the innovations on display. International fairs became key platforms for promoting products and generating business. Companies from all over the world competed to highlight their products and attract new customers. In addition, these fairs facilitated the exchange of ideas and collaboration between scientists, inventors, and entrepreneurs, further driving innovation and technological progress. Another notable example was the 1889 Paris World's Fair, where the Eiffel Tower was presented as a symbol of industrial progress and modern engineering. These types of events not only strengthened international relations, but also helped define the cultural and economic identity of the participating nations on the global stage. The expansion of capitalism in the 19th century had a profound impact on society and culture. As economies grew and industrialized, new consumption patterns, social classes, and political movements emerged that redefined the social landscape of the time. One of the most significant changes was the emergence of a new urban middle class. Successful businessmen, educated professionals, and public officials began to form part of this new social class, enjoying an improved standard of living and access to consumer goods previously reserved for the nobility. However, economic growth did not benefit everyone equally. Industrialization and urbanization caused the mass migration of workers from the countryside to the cities in search of factory employment. These workers often lived in deplorable conditions, crowded into poor neighborhoods and facing long work hours for low wages. Capitalism also influenced culture and the arts. Realism in literature and art reflected the harsh realities of urban and work life. Writers such as Charles Dickens and Émile Zola portrayed the social injustice and inequalities of the time, while painters such as Gustave Courbet captured the daily lives of workers and the emerging middle class. Despite economic and technological advances, the 19th century also witnessed several crises that tested the stability of capitalism. Speculative bubbles, economic recessions, and political and military conflicts shook the foundations of global economies, forcing nations and entrepreneurs to adapt quickly. One of the most notorious crises was the Panic Crisis of 1873, which began in the United States and quickly spread throughout Europe and the rest of the world. Overinvestment in railroads and other infrastructure projects led to a speculative bubble that eventually burst, causing a deep recession and high unemployment rates throughout the developed world. However, crises also led to innovations and adaptations. The companies that survived learned to diversify their operations and better manage risks. Governments began to intervene more actively in the economy, introducing monetary and fiscal policies to stabilize markets and protect workers. Furthermore, economic and social crises fueled political and social movements that sought reforms and improvements in labor and social conditions. Labor unions gained strength, fighting for fair wages, shorter workdays, and better working conditions. These movements laid the foundation for future labor and social reforms in many parts of the world. The legacy of capitalism in the 19th century remains relevant in the contemporary world. The economic, political, and social structures that developed during this period continue to influence our lives and the configuration of the global system. One of the greatest contributions of capitalism was the expansion of international trade and the integration of global markets. Economic globalization that began in the 19th century allowed the transfer of technology, knowledge, and resources between countries, facilitating economic growth and development in many parts of the world. Furthermore, capitalism promoted technological and scientific innovation through economic and competitive incentives. Revolutionary inventions such as the steam engine, electricity, and mass production transformed everyday life and laid the foundation for the modern industrial age. However, the legacy of capitalism also includes challenges and criticisms. Economic inequality, labor exploitation, and environmental impacts have generated debates about the ethics and sustainability of the current economic system. Social and political movements continue to question and seek reforms to address these issues in the contemporary context. Capitalism has profoundly transformed our daily lives, from how we buy and consume goods to how we work and relate globally. In today's world, capitalism remains the predominant economic system, characterized by private property, free competition, and individual profit. In simple terms, capitalism means that individuals and companies can seek economic benefits by pursuing their own interests. This is reflected in decisions such as what products to buy, what to invest in, and how to offer services that meet market demands. For example, e-commerce platforms like Amazon allow consumers to access a wide range of products from around the world with ease and convenience. Additionally, capitalism encourages technological innovation by rewarding the development of new products and services that improve efficiency and quality of life. Companies like Apple, Google, and Tesla are examples of how competition and the incentive to make profits have driven significant advances in technology, from mobile devices to electric vehicles and renewable energy. However, capitalism also poses challenges, such as economic inequality and environmental impacts. The concentration of wealth in the hands of a few and the exploitation of natural resources have generated criticism and calls for greater social and environmental responsibility on the part of companies and governments. In conclusion, capitalism is a dynamic system that continues to shape the world we live in, with its benefits and challenges. Understanding its history and its effects helps us contextualize contemporary debates about economics, politics, and society.